would end up as 0. And so each person would receive 15 candies. Students also need to know how to divide money. The best way to do that is to get some coins at home and divide that up. There won't be too many questions like that on this assessment, but it's something that is crucial for everyday life. We also need to know how to define the rule in a given pattern. Here I've listed 32, 16, 8, 4, and 2. And we need to figure out what the rule is. And so the first thing I do is I look and I see, what do I notice here? The difference between 32 and 16, that's 16. The difference between 16 and 8 is 8. The difference between 4 and 8 is 4. And the difference between 4 and 2 would be 2. And looking at that, there's only one thing that I can think of as to what the rule might be, and that is divide by 2. Because 32 divided by 2 would be 16. 16 divided by 2 would be 8. 18 divided by 2 would be 4. And 4 divided by 2 would be 2. So the rule here would be divide by 2. We also need to know our prime numbers. Factors and multiples and prime numbers all go together, and one of the best ways to understand these numbers is by listening to the prime number rap. The prime number rap is something that's on iTunes you can download, or you can go to YouTube, and I provided that for the students on their study guide, and it gives them a nice fun way to enjoy learning the prime numbers. Students also need to know their multiples. For example, Lucy went to the monster truck show. Each truck had 6 tires. If she counted them all, what number might she come up with? And so looking at this, we know that 4 is not going to be an option because there's at least 6 on each truck. 8 wouldn't be an option because that is not a multiple of 6. 14 would not be enough. She would not see 14. She wouldn't just see 14 total because that's not a multiple of 6. So the only option here is she could only see 24 because that is a multiple of 6. Students also need to know their fact families, the close cousins as we call it in class. For example, 2 plus 4 would equal 6, and 6 minus 2 would equal 4. The key here is these are in the same fact family. They are related. They are similar. You may have a different outcome. You may have a different sum, but at the end of the day, they use the same numbers. They both have a 2. They both have a 4. They both have a 6 as well. And so the key is they have the same exact numbers. It's just you mixing them all around. It's kind of having the inverse property and the inverse relationship here as well. And students also need to recall back to the candy problem when I hired them all at the candy factory for the great candy dilemma. They need to remember how consumers buy things and how they get the most bang for their buck and how they are going to think about doing that when being prompted. The main thing for this unit, this 6-week unit we've completed, is long division, long division, long division. We have done long division time and time and time again, and there are several students who have mastered it. There are more students who have mastered it than the ones who have not. But the key is make sure you're working with your child at home each night. Even if we don't send home a lot of homework, make sure that you quiz them in the car, you test them when you're at the dinner table. This give them a little bit of let them know that you know what they're doing in school. And if you ever have questions as to what they're doing in school, always check my blog, or you can check Miss Clevenger's, Miss Murdoch's blog as well. Now, the long division method that we use is daddy, mommy, sister, brother. Now, what this stands for is division, multiplication, subtraction, and bring down. Those are the steps that we follow. If we were to take 3 into 9, that would be the division step. So how many times will 3 go into 9? Well, we know that it'll go in there 3 times. That's the division. The next step, multiplication. How many times? What is 3 times 3? We know that's 9. Check that off. Then we come to subtraction. 9 minus 9 would be 0. And then we would bring down. Bring down the 6. Bring down the next number, the next greatest number in the place value line up there. How many times will 3 go into 6? We know that 3 will go into 6 2 times. Check that off. 2 times 3 is 6. Check that off. Subtract that. That'll give us 0. Next step, bring it down. How many times will 3 go into 3? We know that'll go there 1 time, which is 3. Divide, multiply. Now we're subtracting. That'll leave us with 0. We bring down our last number in the sequence, and that is 9. How many times will 3 go into 9? We know that 3 will go into 9 3 times, which is indeed 9. We subtract that with 0. Our answer is 3,213 with a remainder of 0. And that's the way we do division here is daddy, mommy, sister, brother. You can work on those at home as well. I'm also going to be sending home a division pattern sheet. It gives us many different things to study here. The first one is it allows us to look for a pattern. We can see here that with our place value system, we use a base 10 number system here in our country, and so it's easy to understand the base 10 value system based on the pattern. And they'll explain that on the worksheet, and they'll explain that when you work on that at home. I've listed a few problems for the students to work on long division. Go ahead and try those. They should knock them out pretty quick. It shouldn't take a student more than 2 to 3 minutes to do one of these problems, and they don't need to do them all at once. Just be familiar with what they're doing. And I've also included a few of the questions revolving around the equations, and this is important for them to understand what the missing value is. In this particular case, they use n, but once again, if they get scared by the letter, just put a blank there and they're trying to fill in the blank. It's a very simple concept. And then lastly, I ask the students to compare, write greater than, less than, or equal to for the given problems. This will give them opportunity to figure out the division problems and then compare them with the other ones. Overall, the students have worked very hard the past few weeks, and they have definitely deserved a lot of credit for working hard. I pushed them very hard, and I know that they've learned an awful lot. They're wonderful kids, and I look forward to seeing the results. Good luck studying at home. If you have any questions, feel free to call me at the school, or you can email me as well. Have a good night.